Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and I want to talk about second path humanity, which is a concept that I realized after I had watched Apple's Finch 2021 film, Tom Hanks's Finch 2021 film, which really perfectly explains what Gary Gygax accomplished and what is happening with his legacy. My apologies. I am going to jump right into a concept that I was talking about in a previous video. This video is part of a playlist. The link for this playlist is right in the description, and you have to watch the first. This is the second video in this playlist, and you have to watch the first to understand anything I'm talking about in this one. My apologies. I try not to do sequential playlists. I do playlists all the time, but I try to make sure that you can jump in anywhere. But the concepts here are so deep, you need to watch it in sequence. All right, let's talk about second path humanity. So second path humanity is something that Gary Gygax created with Dungeons & Dragons. So let me explain what it is. So second path humanity is humans who are manifold sentient, right? They have 10, 20, 30 different sets of emotion, memories, sensations, experiences, right? These are so these are dungeon masters who have played non-player characters so deeply that those identities are now literally part of them, right? And dungeon performers who, people who played player characters at a Dungeons & Dragons table in ways that were so profound that they can feel, that they can think, sense, and feel with that character, right? Like an example of this is I have this barrel turtle wizard that I played in one of the most important D&D campaigns I ever played in, and frequently I will just stand on the docks of Waterdeep in this character's mind, heart, and soul, and I can see the beauty of the sunset. When I walk through Waterdeep, I can smell the smells. I have conversations with people in that world. That identity is part of me, right? And I am manifold sentient. I have multiple sets of emotions, memories, sensations, experiences, and this is fundamentally different than any human has ever had before. And the reason why is there's never been a tool that allowed one human to live in many identities, right? And to freely mix those identities. So essentially, when I was running Beryl the Turtle Wizard, Beryl could make decisions that were good and better because Scott Garibay was driving his decision pool. And now, in my regular everyday life, Beryl the Turtle Wizard helps me make decisions. It helps me talk to different people in different ways, right? And so, and the level that Dungeons & Dragons allowed this, right? Gary Gygax comes in 1974 and he puts this thing down called Dungeons & Dragons. The muggles of the world were like, this is a game, right? The wizards of the world said, oh my gosh, this is an identity engine, this is an achievement engine, and this is creating second path humanity, right? Now, so if I'm manifold sentient and somebody isn't and only has lived one identity, right? Actually, let's not even use me, right? Like if there's, and actually think of, well, I have to use me because I don't know if anybody else processes Dungeons & Dragons this way, but we're gonna jump into it, right? So if there's a person who watches professional football and bowls, right? Like, what are they going to be able to achieve, right? Like, how are they going to be able to think, perceive, and express themselves compared to me, right? Like, I've had 30 different impacting identities that freely impact my cognition, my perception, and my expression, right? And I'm just the first out of the gate on this, right? I'm the first second path human, right? And the reality is, the reason why I'm so excited about Dungeons & Dragons is I'm just an empathic intellectual with a little bit of sagacity sharing some ideas with you. But soon people are going to look at my work and Joe Manganiello's work and go, oh my gosh, Gary didn't build a game. he built something to allow me to mix 30 identities into one person in the 85 years we have on this planet, and think and sense and feel in ways that no other human ever has, and to far surpass first path humans. Like, just leave them behind, right? And then, in my humble opinion, Gary was a third path human. He was exactly like Socrates, Da Vinci, Leonardo, thinking about the universe in ways that were so broad and so beneficial that literally humanity was catapulted forward in the way it could think, in the way it could sense, and in the way it could feel, right? And what's so important about what Gary did is, previously all of those guys, Socrates, Da Vinci, and Galileo, right? There were huge institutions and millions of dollars invested in their education, in their socialization, in their culturalization. And what Gary did was he said, I'm going to make it so that all you need is a red box. All you need is a starter box, and you can have the same impact on humanity. You can have a much broader impact on humanity than people who have had Ivy League degrees, like who have Ivy League degrees, and churches and governments and patrons have invested. I'm going to make it broadly available, right? And so this is my point, is what Gary really did was, when he created Dungeons and Dragons, he created this ability for us to jump in and for 10, 20, 30 years, build a collection of identities in ourselves. And this is what I'm saying, those people who have interacted with Dungeons and Dragons are a second path human, and are going to be able to leapfrog over any of the achievements of people who don't have Dungeons and Dragons, right? And the ramifications of that are massive. The ramifications of that are absolutely massive. Really, really, fundamentally important. And I will explore that in some future videos. And I understand I am very far out on the limb on this one, right? Like, and the limb is bending. And I can hear you like, where are you at, Scott? But I'm telling you, I'm talking about things that will be broadly accepted 20, 30, 40 years from now, right? And I'm talking about it now because we're coming to 5 decades of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's a time to reject the old, simple, shallow, unproductive lie, in my humble opinion, that Dungeons and Dragons is a game, and accept what it is, and that it is an identity engine and an achievement engine that was handed to us by a brilliant, once in a millennium polymath. And really search forward with it. Use it to catapult humanity forward the way we should be catapulted. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.